back to my channel. My name is Bailey. This is Bagel's Books. Today I'm going to be doing a video of books I'll be getting rid of. So we just recently moved into a new house, and when I was putting all my books on the shelf, I was kind of cutting books as I went and like deciding, I don't really want to keep that one. So the first book I'll be getting rid of is The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. This book, it was actually my boyfriend's book, but I read it first. And it is about a couple that goes to this cabin in the wilderness just to kind of as a vacation, and they take their daughter with them. And then a man approaches the daughter one day in the front yard and was like, kind of getting friendly with her, and then was like, take me to your parents. And then when she does, because she's really young, he said, one of you needs to die or the world will end. And so then he like traps them in this cabin, and it's him trying to convince them to kill one of the other ones so to save the world. It was an okay book. Like, the concept's really good. I just didn't really like how it was done. And the ending, not my favorite. It was good, but it wasn't my favorite ending. It's kind of ambiguous. So, not something I'm going to reread. My boyfriend just recently read it, and he doesn't love it either. So, we don't need it on our shelf anymore. The next book I'm getting rid of is this Dean Koontz book called Intensity. I don't know what it's about, but my dad really likes this author, and so does my mom. My dad just recently had a surgery, and I bought him a few Dean Koontz books, and I bought him this one. And I guess I forgot to take it over to his house, because this is his favorite. And then I went not long after, and I bought a copy for myself, not realizing I had this one still. So I have 2 copies now, so I'm getting rid of this copy, because the other copy is prettier. This one. I think it looks prettier. Alright, the next book I'm getting rid of is These Things Hidden by Heather Gudenkauf. I talked about this book in my last video, but it is about this girl who went to prison for killing her baby, drowning her baby. And it starts with her getting out of prison years later, and it kind of goes back and forth perspectives and time periods of explaining what happened that night, and her kind of getting back on her feet and trying to get back in with her family. And it was really good, just not something I want to reread. So I'm going to take it to the bookstore, the used bookstore, to get some credit, to get some new books. The next book I'm getting rid of is this book called White Oleander. Bought this book, actually the same time I bought this book, a long time ago. And I read it. It was more of a coming-of-age story about this girl who was like in the foster system, and it was going through all of her crappy foster homes, and then her visiting her mom in prison, and just her growing up in the foster system. It was a sad book. It was pretty good, but once again, not something I want to reread. This book, a friend of mine, we were going to get rid of some books, and this was in her pile, and I kind of went through her pile and kept a few of them before she got rid of them. And this one, she said, she didn't really like it, but she really liked the ending, like it was unexpected. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll give it a go. And there was a part in the middle, it was just so slow, I could not do it anymore. So I went to her and I was like, I cannot finish this book. So she told me the end, so now I don't need to read it, because I don't think I could not make it through. But it is about this girl. She was young, and this man had this like ribbon, and she really wanted to have this ribbon in her hair. And so she asked the man, like, can I please have that ribbon? And she didn't have enough money. And so he was like, if you have sex with me, I'll give you the ribbon. And she was really young, so she did it. And this book was set in 1748 in London, and so really long time ago. And she did have sex with a man to get the ribbon, and she became pregnant. And so her family kicked her out, because back then it was very bad and like a disgrace to the family to have sex before marriage. So it's kind of about her getting out on her own. She then becomes a prostitute to survive and make money. And that's about as far as I got, because I stopped reading it. So that's about all I can tell you. It wasn't the funnest book to read by any means. The next book I'm getting rid of was a Book of the Month book I got January 2021. The Survivors by Jane Harper. I did like this book. It is just kind of a basic thriller about this guy going back to his hometown to visit his family because his dad is sick. And something happened in his town a long, long time ago. His brother died, and this girl went missing on the same night from this big storm. And then when he comes back to town, another girl is murdered. So it's kind of the mystery of both of those things simultaneously, and them trying to figure it out. His involvement or not, or just who was involved. But it was pretty good, just not something I want to reread or keep on my shelf. Not my fave. And the last book I'm getting rid of is 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard, another Book of the Month book I got July 2021. So this book is set right before COVID hits, and it is in Ireland, I believe. And so it's about this couple who met 56 days ago, and like a week or two into them dating, I could be wrong about that time period, but COVID hit and everything shut down. So they had to quarantine. So they were like, well, let's move in together because that sounds like the right move. One of them ends up dead within the 56 days. It doesn't tell you who at first or anything like that, but it's just kind of the mystery of that. So it goes today with the cops finding the body, and then 56 days ago to them meeting, and then it goes kind of like back and forth between the times, and it goes back and forth between perspectives. And I did like it. I did really like it. But once again, just not something I want to reread. I don't love reading about COVID. Kind of over it. So, not really something I want to keep. But yeah, those are all the books I'm getting rid of. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. This is for you, Joe.